all you aspiring daddies out there? This is Trey with FloGrappling coming back for another episode of the ADCC update show. I don't have anybody else here in studio with me. You're stuck with just me, but calling in all the way from Australia, we got daddy herself, Adele Fornarino. Adele, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What's going on there?
Not much, I went to the store. I got my fresh FloGrappling limited edition daddy hat. You joined the call. You didn't even have your daddy hat on. What's going on? You're not repping the daddy thing? I thought it was like 24/7 for you.
Dude, you're doing a better job at wearing the merch than I am. I like the spin that you've done on it. It's maybe that's how we do it. We sell them like that.
Yeah, for sure. How many? So right now you're rocking this kind of like A-frame daddy hat. ADCC, you had on the red kind of daddy hat. A lot of dad stuff, I guess. But how many daddy hats do you own at this point?
At this stage, I reckon we'd be going on somewhere like 5 or 6. But I think it slowly builds because somebody sees something that's got daddy on a hat and then they buy it for me. So Luke from the team at Hyperfly, he found a hat that says "Hug Your Daddy."
Yeah. And
he got me 2 of those. So now I got some hats that say "Hug Your Daddy" as well.
Dude, "Hug Your Daddy" is a great next iteration of the daddy thing you got going on. You start rocking rash guards that just say "Hug Your Daddy." Like, that's pretty funny. But
exactly.
Are you gonna get Hyperfly to eventually make some daddy merch for you? That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, we got some stuff in the works. There's some hats, some rash guards that are coming. Hopefully some shirts. So we're just getting all that sampling done. There's a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes to get it out to everybody because I'm getting messages on the daily asking when the hats are dropping, asking when the rash guards are dropping. But they're coming. They're coming. They should be on like pre-sale in the next couple of weeks.
For sure. So I want to ask you a little bit about the daddy stuff, because there was kind of like this lead up where I feel like the daddy persona for Adele Fornarino kind of really took off, like leading up to ADCC, like a couple of the Who's Number Ones, you dropped the mechanic video where you were announced your most recent Who's Number One. It was like some great marketing, to be honest. But where did all the daddy stuff kind of stem from for you? Is it more of like a mindset thing, that you kind of just started doing as a persona, or I guess where does it come from?
Well, there was like a slow build up to it. It started off just flat out as a joke, as somebody from the gym, Alanis. I don't know if you guys know, Alanis is an amazing black belt. She's actually Levi's partner. We were just at the gym and I was in my fight camp and I was kind of strutting around, just being full serious, doing as much work as I could when I was on the mats. And she was like, "Oh, you walk around with such like daddy energy." And I kind of giggled. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, "You walk around with daddy energy. You walk around with this alpha bravado energy. Like you own the mats, you own the space." And then we just kind of kept playing on that and we were laughing about it. And then the nickname came there. And then I got the call for WNO when the tubby match was coming up. And we were like, "Oh, we're going to do something funny for us, something that's a little bit more like risky, a little bit more like eye-catching." And we were back and forthing with the group and everybody was like, "Oh, you got to write something on your nails." And Alanis was straight away like, "You got to write daddy. Like daddy has to be the thing. Like you have to start coasting on that. You have to start like really, really getting in front of people's eyes with it." So, we did daddy on the nails, which is, still on the nails right now. Yeah, still got it. And then my manager, Sarah, she ended up buying me one of like the first iteration of the hat. So by the time I got to WNO, we were ready to just rock all the daddy stuff. For sure. I feel like you've kind of really like embodied, I guess like my perception of that persona, kind of that like who's your daddy type of thing, especially now post ADCC where you became double champ, So do you think in some ways it almost like helped your mindset or anything, just having that kind of like daddy mindset going into all this stuff? Did the joke kind of turn into like a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy in any way for you? Yeah, I think it did. I think especially I talk about this a lot, the first ADCC compared to like the second ADCC. I did the first ADCC, I was just kind of there to have a good time. I was enjoying all the lights and the cameras and all that kind of stuff. And then the second ADCC, I wanted to kind of come into it with like a little bit more veracity, a little bit more like self-belief. So when I was walking onto the mats, I did try and embody that daddy energy. I did try and walk on like I own the place, like I own the stadium, like I own the mats. And I think that kind of came off in my jiu-jitsu and I was a lot more assertive. I was a lot more confident. I was pulling triggers. So you definitely saw a different version of me at the second ADCC compared to the first one.
For sure. So I think ultimately you came away, you had 6 matches, 4 submissions. So obviously an incredible run, double gold, it kind of can't get better than that, to be honest. And I want to get into like your run specifically. I pulled some of your highlights we could watch, but first I just want to talk to you about jiu-jitsu in Australia and kind of what the jiu-jitsu scene is like in Australia. What I guess is like life and training like for you in Australia. You started with Dominance MMA, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I did, yeah. So I started, and I'm still with them, so I still train at Dominance with the Dominance crew. I just now do a little bit more cross-training, just for no other reason than like timetable-wise, it's, it works out well, and obviously being on the mats with Liv and Lockie at Absolute is a really beneficial thing. So I do a little bit of cross-training now from Dominance and Absolute.
For sure. So what's just overall, because I'm curious, I was Googling Melbourne Jiu-Jitsu, that's where you're at, right? I always get nervous.
Yeah. You said it the most American way you could possibly say it, Melbourne.
I did. I literally thought it.
You say Melbourne.
Well, I thought about this, all right? So I was practicing this beforehand. I was like, man, do I try to go Australian with it? Do I go like, well, Melbourne? You're in Melbourne, right? And I was like,
Dude,
no.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I was like, I'm just going to be real and just say Melbourne. That's how I would say it. So,
Melbourne, yeah.
maybe, once I embody my own daddy spirit, maybe I'll say Melbourne, more Australian.
When you start embodying the daddy spirit, then you automatically start speaking like an Australian. That's just how it works.
I believe that. I will say Australians are like the most confident, like best quick-witted, make a bunch of jokes people I've ever interacted with, to be honest. Obviously, like Craig kind of being at the leader of that pack currently, but so gotta stay on your toes around the Aussies for sure. But what's the jiu-jitsu scene like in Melbourne? Because I was looking it up, and Dominance and there's a Dominance MMA and an Absolute MMA like 4 minutes apart, if my Google skills are accurate. I was like, there's a few different locations, but I guess like I'm curious, like is cross-training like culture like big there? Like is everyone kind of bounce around, or just overall what's the scene like in Melbourne? Like here in Austin, obviously you can hit up a new gym every day, it feels like, it's like a big time cross-training type of city, but what's it like over there?
So here, like very different to what it was 10 years ago. Like I started 15 years ago, so it was pretty quiet 15 years ago. There weren't many gyms floating around. But, back then cross-training was encouraged just because there wasn't much depth in Australia. But even now today, cross-training is really encouraged. I think that it should be encouraged by gym owners, by coaches. If you're worried about cross-training, you're probably not providing the product that you feel like will keep your members in the first place. So there's always something that's a little bit, you're not backing your own product if you're concerned about cross-training. So cross-training's massive here. It's encouraged. Everybody's happy to let you in. If you're, if the gyms know each other, sometimes there's not even drop-in fees and things like that, even if they aren't necessarily affiliates, but the head coach is a friend. So it's pretty, everybody's welcoming here. Everybody's just happy to help.
That's awesome. How much time do you spend training over with Lachlan?
I'd be there Monday through to Friday. So I do the morning session there at, it used to be 9:30, but now it's slowly kind of slipping away to 10 a.m. because nobody's morning people here. Nobody likes morning sessions.
Respect. That's my type of place.
Yeah. 10 a.m. is a good start. 10 a.m. is like enough time to eat breakfast and it digest and to get your coffee. So I do the morning sessions there, and sometimes straight from the morning sessions, I'll bounce straight through to Dominance to get some rounds out. And I kind of get the mid to late part of their lunchtime session, just depending how much we've been doing at Absolute. I'll do the session there. Sometimes I'll go home and have some lunch, then I'll go to the gym, and then I'm coaching at night. So it's kind of like 2 sessions. I try and squeeze 2 sessions in through the day and then work at night.
Nice. Is it all no-gi these days for you, or are you mixing the gi at all?
Funny enough, I coach in the gi twice a week, and I have every intention of going back into actually training the gi because I want to do the gi season next year. I don't know. I say that, and I say it like I'm confident about it, but I'm also terrified about it because I know how hard the gi is, and I know how much time and energy is going to go into that. But I'm excited to put the pajamas back on.
I think like one of the most like one of my first like, oh shit, Adele's like kind of the real deal moments was watching you at Brasileiros in 2023 against Maisa, where it was you versus Maisa in the finals, right? And I think you were winning until like maybe like the last 20 seconds. I don't know. Like, it was like, like the very end. So obviously you have some gi prowess as well. Brasileiros silver medalist. And then have you done anything else in the gi? I'm sorry if I don't remember, but
no. Nothing substantial in the gi yet. I think I'm still building that skill base. It was something that I fell in love with when I first started jiu-jitsu, and now, I went really no-gi heavy when I was coming out of my brown belt into my black belt. So everybody kind of knows me on the scene as no-gi. But my foundations were from the gi. Like I won juvenile blue belt world in the gi. That was my first ever international win. But I do have a special place in my heart for the gi. I want to make the 12-year-old version of me proud and win an IBJJF gi world title one day. That's why I'm going to keep at the gi.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But so obviously I brought up Maisa. Maisa ended up being your first round matchup in this year's ADCC. That's kind of a match you were calling for a little bit, right? Like you wanted a match with Maisa.
Yeah, 100%. I think that she's really technical. I think she has amazing jiu-jitsu. I asked for the match because I think it'd be a fun match. I think it'd be an interesting match. I really like different puzzles to kind of unpick and figure out what the best strategies are going to be and all that kind of thing. Like I like the problem solving element of it, and Maisa, poses a massive problem to solve, and that was why I was so excited for that match. I didn't expect it to get Maisa round one, but we had to be ready for everything, and it went my way, and all the preparation that we did in the camp allowed it to do that.
What was kind of like your initial reaction whenever you did find out you were going to have Maisa first round? It's kind of like with someone who has the accolades Maisa has, it's kind of like, all right, well, I guess a warm-up is kind of out the window, just jumping right into it to a very hard first-round matchup, which I don't know if there are any warm-ups at ADCC, to be honest, but yeah.
I was going to say, in the 55 division, there's 8 of us. There's no warm-ups in there.
Yeah.
There's, most of the girls in that division are world champions already. So they already have all the accolades, or this is their, 4th, 5th ADCC. I think Bianca Basilio was coming in, and this was either her 4th or her 5th ADCC. So she had depth. There was just nobody in there that was going to be a warm-up round. I did think I was going to get Maisa maybe the second round, but it just goes to show you can't guess, you can't plan it. You just got to be ready for everything.
For sure. And then I pulled just your submissions from the division. So you submitted 2 in your division. You submitted Jasmine and Bia Basilio in the finals. So we kind of want to roll this video. Maybe you could talk us through kind of the submissions here. You ended up with, in the division, an armbar and a mirror lock, which was kind of, that was a pretty sick submission, honestly. We just dropped it as the submission of the month for August. I don't know if you saw that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I'll take it. Awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'll take that.
For sure. But you had Jasmine obviously in the second round. Going into that, kind of what did you think?
Look, I was ready to get kicked and punched and thrown around. I was ready for it to be a rough match.
Jasmine's
I think
mean.
I remember. Yeah, man. Like, and the all of the Rocha family, they're ready to have a scrap. They're ready to get cut open and throw people across the mat. So I was ready for it to be a rough match. I remember asking the referee before I got out there. I'm like, just asking, what's the difference between a kick and a push? And he was like, it's a push when there's contact, but if there's a little bit of like gap between and you kind of are pushing your foot, then that's okay. I was like, yeah, right. I was just making sure that we're all on the same page, that she's not kicking me in the face.
For sure. Yeah. The Rochas know how to get gritty, and kind of push the full extent between pushes and kicks and all of that. But if you want to go ahead and Nikki, our producer, roll this video here. This this video has both your submissions of Jasmine and Bia. We can kind of see here.
Yep.
If you want to kind of just talk us through what's going on here, like, at this point, are you kind of like, oh shit, I'm closing in on something here?
Yeah, I think as soon as I got that arm lock and I was quite deep, I knew that it was going to be tough to pull out, and then I just need to take my time to kind of come over the head and just control her. I think that she was just going to want to scramble, and as soon as I could like slowly come over her head, I gave her a little like pulse on her head. I watched the video, and Mika Galvao was was making a joke on his Instagram about, if I get somebody in an armbar, I'm going to put my thigh on their head and just like pulse it and call it the earthquake.
Yeah.
And I kind of took from that.
Yeah, you did.
And I did that when I was trying to like break the hands on the armbar. But with BR, I was ready for her to start like jumping on ankles. So I had my foot there, and she tried to get a little cheeky toe hold, and that allowed me to get my closed guard. So I was just ready for my feet to get yanked on.
For sure. In this, you can hear Andre. There's the Mirlock, obviously, but while you're in closed guard, you can hear Andre yelling the whole time. Mirlock's there. Mirlock's there. Did you know? Like, could you hear him saying that, or like during the match, or?
There's some things that I can remember hearing. It's so hard because there's not actually a lot from those matches that I remember, like that I consciously remember. It's that classic, like you go out there and you're in like flow state. Mm-hmm. So my memory is a little bit jumbled. It's a bit all over the place. Like more so people tell me what happened rather than I actually remember what happened in some of those matches. I know with the Bianca, the Mosquito match, I do remember him yelling out like Choi bar, and that kind of jogged my memory for the Choi bar. But through the training camp, it was just something that I was using quite a bit. So he knew that it was like in my arsenal. He knew that it was a really strong attack for me. So it helped that he was keeping an eye on me through the training camp and knew what I was good at and what attacks I had ready to go.
How much of a difference did it kind of make? Because you did basically your legit camp leading right up to ADCC all at Atos, right? How much of a difference did that make training there in that room? Because that's obviously one of the best, most insane rooms in the world.
Yeah, I think like the numbers of how many athletes they had in there and how many medalists they had. You know, Kynan was the other double medalist in the male division. So the proof's in the pudding that the camp was fantastic and that everybody was very well prepared out there. You know, Hafela winning her division as well. So there was a massive team. The training camp was great. The training camp was hard. There was, you know, some really tough days there where we were just getting pushed to our limits, but it got us prepared. We did all the hard work before so that we were leaving nothing to chance. And by the time we got out there, we were just confident. We trusted our body, trusted our jiu-jitsu, trusted the work that was done. We weren't going out there kind of thinking about what if we did this, what if we did more, what if we did an extra session here and there. We did what needed to be done through that training camp. I don't know if you can see in some of the videos, I also had Jake O'Driscoll there, who's one of my coaches from Australia. And he was a massive help too. He came to Atos and, you know, observed the training camp, but he had all of his attention on me, which made a massive difference. So we were ready to go. We had all bases covered.
Yeah, I think Atos walked away with 6 gold medals, I believe. You and Kynan both double gold, so that's 4. And then Rafaela, and then if you count Felipe Pena, because, I mean, he did the camp there, so that would be 6. I think that's the 6, but which is like a historic number. I don't think any other team has ever gotten 6 medals, which is pretty nuts. Obviously, Atos is one of the best teams for a reason. But after you submit Bia, and now you're an ADCC champion, what's going through your head? What's that feeling like, that immediate, you know, like she taps, it's like, holy shit, you know, now I'm a ADCC champion.
It was overwhelming, man. Like you can see, like after I got the submission, I just kind of screamed and got on the ground and started like just crying, and it's just so much of a build up. Like this one in particular, there was close to a 2-year build up. Literally from the time that the last ADCC was finished to this one, it was like ADCC was front of mind. Everything was getting ready for ADCC. Everything was to do with the lead up. And it was a big, like some of it was relief because everything was worth it. Some of it was disbelief because it just felt really surreal. You know, there were people yelling out in the crowd and I was getting interviews and all that kind of stuff, and that felt really surreal. Like I have to sometimes look through my Instagram and see the photos to reinforce that it actually happened. Like sometimes I wake up feeling like I'm just going crazy. But there was a little bit in there of it was destined to happen, if that makes sense. Like we had put in the work, we had done what needed to be done, and it was the result that we were confident that we were going to be able to get. Right.
It's kind of like that, like actualizing a dream, you know, whenever it's like, it wasn't like it was a complete surprise to you because that was obviously the goal all along, right?
Yeah. Through the whole training camp, you know, me and Hafa specifically were, we would remind each other at training, we're like, you're going to be an ADCC champ in this many days. You're going to be holding that medal and you're going to be celebrating, and we're going to be ADCC champs together. And we just kind of kept reinforcing that. There's a photo that I put up on my Instagram, and after training, we would go get acai just down by the beach. And when you get acai, they give you like a little laminated piece of paper, and you write down what your order is, but you have a texter. And every day we had that texter, and we would write on each other 2024 ADCC world champ, and then like do like either a little love heart or a little like medal. And that would just be that reinforcement of, you're going to be an ADCC champ. We're doing this for a reason.
That's awesome. You guys did it. Both of you walked away with gold.
We did it. We believed and we put in the effort, and we got there.
Yeah. So your competition didn't stop there though, because obviously then you went on to do the absolute. So after you win, was it like, did it take much consideration? Did you know going into this year that, because kind of Mo had talked about there being a women's absolute, did you know that no matter what you wanted to be in it, or you were going to kind of see how it played out? What was, I guess, the decision process like for you to do the absolute?
It was definitely like cross that bridge when we get to it. Like, I was aware that the absolute was going to be there, but I tried not to talk about it too much beforehand. I tried not to obsess about it beforehand, because I wanted all of my attention to be on my division. I did have some thoughts about it. I was saying before ADCC came around, I made comments like, champions are made in your division, legends are made in the absolute. So I had every intention of doing it, but just didn't want to fixate too much on it. Like, it wasn't what the training camp was about. And then I finished my division, and I see Mo sitting on the side of the mats with his clipboard trying to figure out who's in the absolute. And he's like, do you want to do it? Do you want to, like, I got to know now. I have to put names down right now. Yours is the last one. Are you doing it? And then I kind of look at my team of coaches, and they never pushed me to do it. They were like, oh, well, you can do it. That you have nothing to lose. Nobody takes this win away from you. And I kind of look at my body, and I wasn't carrying any injuries. I was feeling really good. My jiu-jitsu was feeling good out there. So I just kind of went, why not? In Australia, we call it putting it in the fuck it bucket. And that's exactly what I did.
For sure. I mean, ultimately paid out. But I think one aspect of the absolute, and I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. It was kind of a weird absolute for you in the sense that I think you had to fight a couple of your friends, right? Like, I believe you and Brianna are kind of close, at least it seems so from, I guess, just the internet and stuff. But then obviously you did the camp with Rafaela. So, and there was a time where I think I talked to you after the Rafaela match, like, a little mat side, like, oh, how do you feel type of thing. And it wasn't like, I didn't talk to like an amped up daddy or anything. It was kind of like I just had to beat a couple of friends, and I don't really know what's going on. This is crazy. I'm in the finals. And I was like, oh, shit, okay, I don't know. So what
that describes it so perfectly, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of, I guess, what it was like. It was just kind of like you were like floating along, just doing sick jiu-jitsu, winning matches, and being like, I guess now I'm going to fight Bia Mesquita in the finals. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'm doing the next one. I think, the first few matches were pretty rough for me, just because like they are my friends. Like, Brianna is one of my best mates. She's been with me through a lot of like pinnacle moments in my career. She was at Brazilian Nationals with me. She was in my corner. We were staying together when we were in Brazil. And before that, we didn't really know each other too well. And we just kind of were thrown into the deep end and we're like, hey, you do jiu-jitsu, I do jiu-jitsu. Let's go to Brazil together and do this Brazilian Nationals thing together. So we became really close through that. She came with me to one of my Who's Number One matches and was sitting in my corner at one of those matches as well. So she's my friend, but also a big inspiration for me and a massive help in a lot of like pinnacle parts of my career. So to have her in the first round was pretty rough. At the end of the day, we're both going out there to do our jobs. Like, we have no hard feelings towards each other. We're going out there to do what we do and what we love to do and put on a show for everybody. And that's what we did. But, now after that's done, we're still really good mates. She's planning on coming to Australia hopefully sometime soon. So, we're going to hang out over here. Hopefully I can go to Canada and we can hang out there. But even Rafaela, we did a training camp together. We did recovery together. We went through the ups and downs of all of that together, and then ending up getting each other in the second round. Same kind of thing. We just go out there and we do our job and we laugh about it afterwards.
For sure. Jiu-jitsu is a little bit different than something like MMA, you know, where I feel like in jiu-jitsu, for one, because it is just kind of like a closer community in a way, where it's like you see the same people all the time at all different, like the competition, you know, like on the circuit, it's like kind of this same crew you see all the time. And obviously a lot of people are close, and you have to fight like teammates and friends more so than like MMA. You don't really see that as much, you know, but I guess it's a little different whenever you're like punching somebody in the face versus like, you know, tapping them or whatever. But so that is a nice thing about jiu-jitsu, you know, you can kind of, everyone's pretty cool usually afterwards and everything. But
I think most of the girls are actually quite friendly towards each other. Like most of the girls are friends. Before we were doing the match announcements at ADCC, when we're backstage, we're all laughing, we're all having a good time. You know, most of the drama that anybody sees outwardly is exactly what that is. It's just drama. It's just to pull an audience to fights. But most people are pretty well mannered, pretty respectful of each other.
Yeah, I pulled a little bit of a highlight from the Absolute as well to show a couple of your submissions here, and then kind of your final, because you were close in the final to getting that. But if you want to, if you want to go ahead and play the highlight here, Nikki, and you can kind of just talk us through some of this. Obviously, it kicks off with you and Brianna. Yeah,
I struggle to watch this one always. It makes me a bit emotional because it's just one of those things. Yeah, Choi bars are a massive thing. We're working through the training camp. You know, Lockie showed me his variation. Jake showed me his variation. Andre showed me his variation. We just kind of put it all together. But it was a massive part of the training camp, a massive thing that I had kind of locked in my back pocket, especially for the Absolute because they're bigger. It's a smarter submission to go for. Rafaela, earlier on this match, I had some bites on some other submissions. So I had a knee bar, but she by that point was injured from her first match.
Yeah.
But I caught a cheeky little knee bar there. But in that match with Rafaela, I had some other submissions on, and she picked me up, and she looked at me like she was going to slam me, and I'm like, "Don't you slam me!" And the referee's like, "There's no submission there. Don't slam her." And I'm like, "Please don't slam me, because I think you could literally paralyze me if you slam me."
For sure.
But yeah, same kind of thing here, like a Choi bar from a knee shield. Bea was really good at just sneaking out of that armbar. Like she ran it straight away so that her thumb was in the wrong direction. I was trying all kinds of things to actually finish this, either with the armbar, or the Kimura trap, or the triangle itself. And she was just so good in the defense of it. She was so good at like either joining her hands together or just continuously moving. She didn't stop until she was in a safe position. And then by the point here, I was at a difficult angle to finish the actual triangle itself. And I could see the time, and there was something like 6 minutes left. I'm like, I'm going to try and like get this arm out to get the Kimura trap, but I know that she's just so strong and she's going to try and hunker down here. I'm like, maybe in the next 6 minutes she'll move, and if she moves, then I'll get a bite at it and I'll be able to pull the arm out. But she was smart. She didn't move. She kept everything really tight. So by the end of it, my legs were just on fire, burning. My arms were on fire. They were burning, but I just tried everything to hold everything tight and not let her out.
Yeah. And so after that one, obviously you didn't walk away with the submission, but you know, it's a great way to end the match, you know, like with the submission threat kind of there and everything. And then Andre kind of ran onto the mat, picked you up, he's carrying you around and all that. What was that feeling like, huh?
He picked me up like I was nothing.
It was so
he just
funny.
Like one arm put me on his shoulder and just like, you know, like I weighed absolutely nothing.
We talked about that on the first show we did after ADCC, like recapping the results. We talked about how Andre just goes out there and is just like, whoop, and just like, he basically like Lion Kings you, but with just one hand. Like it's like nothing for him. It was kind of a hilarious visual.
The man's insane. He's so incredibly strong. He's insane. But yeah, he picked me up. I got to celebrate with the Atos team and some of my crew from back at home. My parents were there, so I got to celebrate with them. And again, that was one of those surreal moments of, you know, I'd just done this thing, and now I'm in front of an audience of 14 to 18,000 people, however many people were there. And they're all screaming my name and celebrating with me. And that's something that I will, you know, relive for the rest of my life now, because I think it was a really nice moment for me.
What was it like for you once you got back to Australia? Was there like a nice homecoming type of feeling bringing the belt back to Australia?
It was definitely special bringing it back, because it's the first it's the first divisional win in Australia for ADCC, and it's the first absolute win for ADCC for Australia, which was really cool. So I was excited to bring that back to everybody here. We did a barbecue, we did a little bit of a celebration, took some photos, had some drinks, all that kind of stuff. All the advice that I got from everybody who had won before me, so all the people that were world champions and had some amazing achievements in their career, they all said the same thing. It's take a moment to actually celebrate it, go back home and spend some time with your family, but don't just look at the next thing. Don't pretend like it didn't happen. Like, be loud, be proud about the success that you've just had, because it may not come again. It may come again, but it may not. And it's really important to take the time to look back on all that you just achieved and be happy about it, be proud of yourself for it.
For sure. I feel like that's good advice, because jiu-jitsu, there's not really a legit off season. It's like, if you want to, you can just kind of just keep going right into the next thing. So it probably is very good advice to take a beat and, let that kind of wash over you and soak in a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. I think it is important I think especially in Australian culture, everybody's really modest. So we kind of just pretend like it didn't happen, or somebody's like, oh, you did this thing, and you're like, yeah, but it was no big deal. That's the kind of the culture that is especially in Australia. But everybody was just encouraging me to walk around with my belt and celebrate with it, and tell everybody that knew about jiu-jitsu what had happened. Like, we were at the airport and we were going into the Qantas lounge because my parents fly a lot, so we were going in with them, and my dad was telling everybody, every person that worked for Qantas, he was telling everybody, oh, my daughter just won this thing. It's like the Olympics of jiu-jitsu. She's a world champion. And they were like, yep, that's nice. They just keep doing their job.
They're calling it karate and stuff. Like, oh, yeah, karate.
Exactly.
Cool. No, but
that's nice.
I don't know a lot about Australia, I'll be honest, but one thing I've watched, because I've watched YouTube videos, is a lot of Australians go to Bali and party a lot, it seems, at least from these YouTube videos I'm seeing. So is that a little bit of the celebration culture? You're gonna do a little trip to Bali or anything, take the belt over there and live the life a little bit?
Bali could be cool. Bali would be a cool trip. Thailand's not too far away either, and I'm a massive fan of Thailand, so to do a little trip to Thailand, meet some friends that are there, that would be cool as well. I definitely want to do something like tropical, something near a beach, something where I'm drinking out of coconuts and enjoying life. That would be nice. I gotta make sure that the timing's right. My partner, she's a dentist, so she's working at the moment. So as much as I want to go, I gotta wait till she can have some time off too, so we can enjoy it together.
That's dope. My girlfriend's also a dentist.
Hey, no way. There you go. Mm-hmm. I tell my girlfriend all the time, I'm like, she's a great long-term investment. When we first started seeing each other, she was in dentistry school. So I was like supporting her through, like, I was keeping her up at night when she was studying and making her food to make sure that she could get through all these exams. And now she's at the other end of things and she's fixing people's teeth. And every time she comes home, she's like, yeah, we just made this much. I'm like, sick, cool, long-term investment.
Hey, I can relate big time. I've been with my girlfriend for a while, and same exact type of thing, through dentist school, all that. And I would always say, like, eventually, like, I'll retire and just do my hobbies, and, like, you'll just make all the money. Because, like, I don't want to be greedy, It's like, dentists make enough money.
Yeah.
I'll just have fun. So
yeah, exactly. That's the way.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Maybe I'll tag along for this Bali trip. I don't know. We'll have a little dentist retreat.
Oh, dude, come with. It'll be awesome. Everybody's invited. What are you talking about? It's an open invitation. Everybody's more than welcome to come to Bali.
All right, let's go. What's next for you, jiu-jitsu wise? Do you have anything on the horizon? I guess I should ask you first about the call out. You called out obviously Ffion, which would be a huge match. I think that could potentially be one of the biggest women's matches that could be made right now. The ADCC absolute champ against Ffion, kind of the reigning number one pound for pound female grappler. I think I know why you want that match, because obviously she's like the number one female right now. But just what made you want to call out Ffion? What do you think about that one?
No, it definitely ruffled some feathers. I think it
really,
it upset some people. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like some feathers got ruffled, not by her, but by like the wider audience. I was getting messages about like, oh, how dare you call out Ffion, this, that, the other, and I think people see it from this perspective of I'm calling her out because I think I'm trying to disrespect her, and that's not the case. I'm not trying to disrespect her. I think she's incredible. I respect her jiu-jitsu. That's why I want to fight her, because I think that she's done a lot for the sport. I think she's on a really good run right now and is very, very talented and very, very good. And that's why I want to fight her, because I think it'll be an amazing match. It's the match that makes sense. We're right now 1 and 2 for pound for pound. And it's the only match that makes sense. So I definitely want that match. I think it'll be great.
For sure. There's also a little bit of history there, right? Ffion's the person you fought in 2022 ADCC, if I'm not mistaken, right? So It's kind of like...
I fought her first round, yep.
Yeah, so obviously a chance to get that one back, but you are right. It's kind of number 1, number 2 right now. Obviously, we didn't get to see Ffion at ADCC this year. It was like a bummer, but now it does kind of create the situation where that does feel like the match to make.
Yeah, it absolutely is the match to make. She was supposed to be in the 55 division, and then obviously went to CJI. So that division did change. And when she went to CJI, she even made the statement. I want to say it was on one of her YouTube videos, saying that the winner of ADCC can fight the winner of CJI, and we can make it a massive match, because it will be the biggest female jiu-jitsu match that kind of ever has happened, because you get the 2 winners of these massive events, but also putting it on the right platform so that we can both make a decent amount of money from that match and all be happy and merry.
For sure. So I guess just anything else going on for you? Do you have you kind of mentioned going after the gi, majors this year, or just is there other super fights, as you've been talking to Ricardo for WNO or anything? Any big matches in the works?
Me and Ricardo are tight, man. Me and Ricardo are DMing on the daily. We're just checking in with each other. Hopefully there'll be some matches coming in on WNO. There's some titles that I have my eyes on, so hopefully we can lock some things in there. There's some other matches all in the works, but it's one of those things where I can't say anything until they're completely locked in, because if they fall through, then everybody's going to be disappointed. But I'm not done for the year. There's going to be some more no-gi matches, hopefully. And then at the start of next year, swinging into the gi season, the plan is to do as much of that gi season as possible. The plan is going to be to hit to hit gi worlds. So I think I'll be pretty jam-packed. I don't think I'm going to have a massive off-season, maybe a little bit through December, but besides that, I think I'm going to be pretty busy.
Right on. There's going to be a whole lot of daddy in 2025, huh?
100%, man. It's 2025 is the year of the daddy.
All right, let's go. By then I'll get me a real daddy hat. This is this one's a little makeshift. They got me by for now, but I'll lock in with the official merch soon.
It's all right. By then, I'll send you one. How about that?
Okay, perfect.
I'll send you one so you don't need to be rocking the makeshift version.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything
else? I'm loving it. I'm loving the creativity.
Yeah, super creative. A little piece of tape, Sharpie. But
looks great.
Is there anything else, Adele? That you want to say? Anything you want to shout out? Where can the people find you? You working on anything? Got anything coming up that people should know about?
100%, man. Everything's in the there's a lot of things in the work at the moment, but pretty much you can keep up to date with all of that stuff through my Instagram, Adele Fornarino. All the announcements are going to come through there. So anything about the merch drops, that'll come through my Instagram. Anything about seminars, I'm going to be doing a seminar tour pretty soon through Australia, and then a seminar tour through America. That'll be happening pretty soon. If you guys are interested in hosting me for a seminar anywhere around the world, there's a link in my bio that people can fill out. There's some instructionals coming out that I'm super excited about. So keep an eye on the sub-meta space. There's going to be some stuff coming out there, as well as the BJJ Fanatics space. So there's going to be plenty of content coming out. And then somebody was encouraging me to do a YouTube channel. So maybe there'll be a YouTube channel somewhere in there. I don't know what I'm going to put on it yet, but I'm sure I'll find something entertaining for everybody.
For sure. That'd be sick. Are you going to drop a Choi Bar instructional?
There'll be a Choi Bar instructional 100%. There has to be a Choi Bar instructional and some Mia-lock stuff in there as well.
For sure. That'd be sick. All right.
Yep.
One last question, I guess, before I go. Has the social media thing changed at all for you post ADCC? Like after becoming a ADCC champion, did it kind of blow up your Instagram? Do you get tons of DMs? Do you get creeps and stuff? You don't have to go into too much detail, but
dude,
I'm always
all the time.
it's the more I like talk to female grapplers, the more I realize that's a pretty real thing, and dudes should stop it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like, but I got creeps in my DMs when I had 5,000 followers. Now I got 18,000 followers, and I get more creeps in my DMs. But the advice that I get from everybody, people have been asking me for socks and to like send them feet photos and things like that. And most of the advice I'm getting is, yeah, just do it. It's a quick buck. It's like, it's easy money. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, fair enough. It's as long as I'm not sending them socks that I actually wear on the daily, then I'm not too fussed.
Did just like overall, like
the social media thing is blowing up.
Yeah, it's just like a noticeable difference, I guess, in all of that.
Just more people, more activity, like more messages, things like that. So it is crazy how fast that grew. It was, I wanted to put some effort and time and energy into my social media. But now I definitely need to put some time and energy into my social media to make sure that I'm staying in front of people's eyes and keeping people entertained and giving some people like a behind the scenes of what's actually going on in my life, because I thought nobody was interested in that. Like, I thought nobody cared what time I woke up and how many training sessions I did and what I ate for lunch, but it turns out people actually really care about that stuff and they're interested about it. So 100%. I think I'll just keep everybody up to date with what's going on.
All right. Well, we'll be, tuned in to the Adele Instagram. Everybody go follow Adele. When you drop the YouTube, let us know. We can help share some links and all that for you, because I'm sure there's going to be some great stuff 100%. There. But yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in to this episode of the ADCC Update Show. Got to talk to Adele a little bit, learn a little bit more about, the daddy mindset. You see the close up there, right there. But thanks for watching, and we'll see everybody in the next episode. Make sure and snag your daddy hats as soon as they drop.